that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't come to play, we ain't come to play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up.
You can do anything you want. I ain't got no problem with it. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off. No, come find me. No, come find me. Listen to the words. Come find me. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off.
I ain't a hard guy to find. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Garbage, a joke, clown acts, pisses me off. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Monday evening here inside the studio. And I'm going to tell you right now, over the next 2 days, okay, yours truly is in here solo. All right, I gave the boys off. They wanted to work. I said, no, we're kicking it solo. I'm kicking you out of the studio. I'm going to have to lock it up, board it up, because I know you're dying to work on Rivalry Weekend here in the midst of a holiday weekend. Nope, can't have it. You are not allowed to be here. You have to stay out of here. So yes, we are still down a camera, and now we are down 2 producers for the next 2 days, but I've got loaded shows for you guys. Absolute loaded shows for you guys. We're going to kick it old school around here, and I've got a great one for you. We will go until I'm out of notes tonight. There is no general structure here. In fact, I need big money signs in the chat to remind me to hit ads tonight, because y'all know how I get when I'm in here by myself and I have all the free reign in the world to just let me do whatever it is I'm about to do for however long it is I'm about to do it. So I've got a boatload of notes, and we have a boatload of big-time football games to get to. So I'm going to ignore the chat for the time being while I get this ball rolling. All right, let's get this ball rolling, and we'll talk to each other in a little bit, especially you super chubs, because I got a feeling there's going to be some tonight, as we can already see. Folks trying to fund the camera. Look, these expensive cameras around here, and I've been stressed about it a little bit. I ain't going to lie to you, but I ain't trying to harbor you for your money. All right, so everybody's money's tight. My money's tight just like your money tight. Don't be out here giving me all your cash. I don't need that. Let's get after it with these takes tonight. Here we go. It's a loaded one. Lane says the quiet part out loud, in my opinion. We got previews tonight as well, and we're going to preview the college football playoff rankings on tonight's show as well. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and as is already happening right now in the chat, make sure you're fired off in the chat. Look, it's a Monday night. That Sunday league playing on a Monday too, okay? There's a lot of options out here on a Monday night. The way we get in front of brand new people is to make sure you're firing off in that chat. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing if you haven't already, all right? Let's get after that. Put that onus on you guys to put us in front of as many people as we humanly possibly can, all right? Let's do that. And we've already produced 2 film studies today, so Lord knows 3/4 of the folks that subscribe to this channel, all 86,000 of them almost, didn't even get a notification today when we went live. So make sure you're helping out on that end. Let's start with the calendar, because I'm going to be honest. It seems like you aren't a national voice until you attempt to solve everything whilst doing nothing. So let's talk. I'm going to give my ideas about this. I'm going to do absolutely nothing, but I know how to fix it. So let's fix it. Everybody knows the problem with the calendar. Right about now, we have a college football season that ends January 20th, all right? And we have a early signing window that happens early December. We have a transfer portal window that I believe opens up January 2nd. All right, we have this real discombobulated time period where everybody always wonders, why in the hell would you allow roster movements to happen? Why would you allow coaching changes to happen? Why would you allow coaching searches to happen? Why would you allow all this change in your sport to happen whilst your sports is continuing to happen? Whilst you're still playing football, why are y'all allowing this to happen? Why is the calendar this discombobulated? Everybody comes to that question. And the realistic answer is it's not, oh, we just need to move this stuff till after the season. Wipe your hands, so easy. That's obviously the resolution. But how do you get there? Because there's a lot of, as there usually is with massive organizations, a lot of red tape here. There's a lot of things to go over, like this one right here. We have to stop, or I'll get to the answer in a second. We have to stop acting as if these student athletes are still student athletes, as if they're not professionals placating as students. And the whole reason we're pigeonholed by this, the whole reason we're pigeonholed by the schedule is because of the student calendar. All right. Classes end in December. The semester ends in December. You have to be in classes by mid-January. Thus, you have to start the semester by mid-January, right? That's why this calendar happens the way that it is. That's why early signing day is where it is, so you can get enrolled by January semester. That's why the transfer portal is January 2nd, so you can get enrolled before add drop period happens. So here's what we need to have happen around the world of college football and realistically college athletics. The whole machine moves up and down because of the success of football. The whole machine in college athletics and colleges in general, if you go around to these massive universities, the whole machine operates positively and negatively based on how cooperatively the machine of football ultimately works. So why are we not placating to these football players? Why are we acting as if their student calendar should take precedence over the football calendar? Because in nowhere else in their life does it actually happen. None of these kids are going to classes really anymore. They're all online. It's the dirty secret that nobody wants to tell you. Since COVID, I'd say 80% of these kids are enrolled in online classes. They're not going to school. They're spending 90% of their time inside the facility. And their online classes are figured out how to be done. Wink, wink. All right. So we all know this. It's the dirty secret unspoken about this sport. It has become so professionalized. The whole entire economy moves around football. So all I'm asking you to do, think about this. Universities, listen to me today. This is all I'm asking you. To get over yourselves, allow football to placate and dictate your schedule for about 15 days. Last time I checked, add drop period, which is the last moment you can choose to add a class or drop a class as a college student right about now, is mid-January. It's like January 15th. All I'm asking you to do is to allow these football players to move freely up until about February 2nd. All I'm asking is about 3 weeks of extra placation for these football players that, by the way, pay most of your inflated ass salaries. All of you professors making damn near whatever it is, $200,000. What? Huh? How? Well, because the athletic administration has been working at a $265 million surplus for the last 15 million years. So that's why. All of these things, right? You see what I'm saying? Boom. Nice and simple. I think that's nice and simple. Makes it nice and easy. Just move the academic calendar only in the spring. Oh, holy voice crack. Only in the spring. That's all I'm asking. Only in the spring. Just move the calendar about 15 days. Boom, done. That's boom, done. Everybody says move the calendar. Yeah, but you got to move the academic calendar. That's why we're so pigeonholed. I thought everybody knew that, but that was just me. Or that's just my thoughts, I should say. Again, you are not a national voice until you come on here and say, I can fix everything, knowing damn well I ain't about to do nothing. I ain't about to do nothing except for ask you to hit that thumbs up button. You know what I mean? Hit that thumbs up button. Yeah, they're pigeonholed by the academic calendar until they choose to realize that these student athletes are athletic students. This is always going to be like this. So we can keep bitching. You know, Nick Saban can keep going viral saying this is not Lane Kiffin's fault. This is not these coaches' fault. These are not these kids' fault. All this. We can keep complaining about it. But until y'all get over yourselves in the academic department and have some leeway for the student calendar, all this is bamboozled. All this is bamboozled. So there's that. I thought this was very interesting. I don't know if y'all saw this today, but I felt as if Lane Kiffin said the quiet part out loud. And I tweeted about this under Trey Wallace, friend of the show's comment over there on his Twitter. Or I tweeted this underneath him. it's just like, man, he was asked today about, again, I mean, for the 900th time, about the distractions his players are having to deal with. And for the 900th time, Lane was like, hey, guys, I mean, this is a new era of college football. This is a new type of athlete. I'm paraphrasing. This is a new type of athlete. These guys don't get bothered by this type of stuff. These guys don't get distracted by this type of stuff. Yada, yada, yada. Went on the whole, like, this is a different era of football players. They do not feel as if they are tied to the place that they're at or the coach that they're at as much as they did maybe 10, 15 years ago. And yes, I 100% agree with that, especially at Ole Miss. That is a mercenary football program. The entire football program, apart from the football coaches, have been there for about less than 18 months. Most of them. About 80% of the roster has been there for about 18 months. So no, they do not have any type of, they do not feel any type of loyalty one way or the other. They do not feel as if the coach is tied to that place, nor do they feel as if they are tied to that place, because in reality, they're not tied to that place. I tweeted today, these are mercenaries that will go fight for the war chest wherever the war chest exists. The insigniary on their jerseys and uniforms does not matter. They're mercenaries. That's what they are. Safety from UL Monroe, safety from Wazoo, wide receiver from Wake Forest, wide receiver from Penn State, quarterback from D2, offensive lineman from here, defensive lineman from here. Do we see what we're saying? You see what I'm getting at? None of these players have been committed to Lane Kiffin, like very few of them. Suntarian Perkins, excuse me. My bad. Very few of these football players have been committed to Lane Kiffin since they were 17 years old, have been dreaming and dying to play for Ole Miss for as long as they could have dreamed and died for anything, and then went and accomplished their dreams and now feel tied to that place of dream. That's not what that's got going on out there, all right? Because they are a program of mercenaries. That's what they are. And I thought he said the quiet part out loud. Now, here's the deal. I think that's part of the reason why he's leaving, or he's thinking about leaving. That's why it's part of the reason why he's thinking about leaving. Because again, for the 190 or 900th time, however many times I can say this on this network, for the love of God, you do not build off the portal unless you have to. If Dan Lanning and Oregon, the whole Oregon machine, if that SOB was planted in South Georgia, if Oregon, Oregon University, the University of Oregon, if that bitch was planted in Savannah, that dude would recruit nothing but five-star high school football players from as far as the Southeast could see. But because he's in Eugene, Oregon, and he can only really pay or garner like 14 of those, he does that and then goes portal hunting for that monster like Isaiah World out of the portal, or that monster that's hurt right now for him, Evan Stewart, or that monster at quarterback that was a five-star out of high school that floundered at UCLA. You see what I'm saying? Like, if people absolutely had the best of both, or the best of the worlds, if they had best choices, what would they do? They would build their rosters the way Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas do. And you could tell me I'm wrong until you're blue in the face, but I'm right. I know I'm right. That's just the way this sport has built, even though the portal has become around. So I had somebody comment like, oh, him saying this out loud, like all these mercenary behavior, this is the death of college football. No. It's the reality at certain places. All right, and that's okay. And they've done a tremendous job of pouring resources into Lane Kiffin's staff and Lane Kiffin's roster and going out and identifying great portal players and then having them be impactful football players for them. But don't get it twisted. That's not the preferred method. It's not. All right, so there's that. I can't even read the chat tonight, so I'm blacking out. I'm going right into the notes. Whew, we're just going to do that. So, yeah, that's my take on the Ole Miss thing. It's like, dude, yeah, of course. Like, we said the mercenary thing out loud because that's what it is. Here's my new, and I might put this on the board, or at least you football coaches that are listening today, you got to understand this right here. No matter where you're at, you have to adapt to this method of motivation, in my opinion. You can no longer be out here motivating off the pride of place. We love this place, yada, yada, yada. This place is a family place. We can't be out here dripping ourselves in pride of place. We have to drape ourselves, absolutely cover ourselves in pride of performance. That's it. That's all we have. Yes, performative measures come with monetary value nowadays. And we could talk about if you play well, you get your money, kid. And maybe that feels grimy to a fan that used to only love this sport because it was all about pride of place. I'm not talking to fans right now. Please ignore me, even though all 1,000 of you, 1,200 of you, most of you are fans, fanatics, people who love the sport of college football. And most of you fell in love with the sport of college football because it was the love of the jersey, the love of the logo on the front, not the name on the back. And what I'm talking about right now is performance-based, is monetary-based, and is very gross. But as a football coach, that's the path I would go to. We can't be out here, especially at Ole Miss, we can't be out here talking about, hey, we love the city of Oxford as football program. Hey, player who just got off the bus from your transfer portal, you've been here since July, you're already playing for us, it's November. You sure do love this place, right? Go play for it. No. We got to play for performance. Okay? We got to play for performance. By the way, look, I'm not like the end-all, be-all for Ole Miss intel. There are plenty of better places, I'm sure, for that. What I will tell you, though, is I spoke to somebody today. I have it on good authority that he still don't know what he's going to do. I have it on authority today. Now, I could be getting lied to, which happens very, very often. Yeah, just like no clue. No clue. One day we're staying, one day we're going, one day we're staying, one day we're going. I hope he finds out by the end of Saturday night, because the Sunday morning press conference is the 8th, right? Sunday morning press conference coming sooner or later. So, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane what is going on out there. And, it is a crying shame. Everybody's giving the take about how it's a crying shame for that football program. But you want to hear a take? You want to hear a take from me? The Ole Miss football players, most of which have just gotten there or have been there very not very long. Those football players down the stretch will play just as hard, if not harder, to make the he's traveling with me list if the coach is indeed leaving. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I highly doubt there is a player with eligibility on that roster that when Lane Kiffin goes to LSU, if he goes to LSU, if they are starting right now for Ole Miss, they will be on that LSU Tiger roster. I'm just letting you know. Because they are at Ole Miss because they want to play for Lane Kiffin. And they're probably getting good money. But you act like they ain't going to get no money at LSU if he transfers there. It's why the takes I keep seeing about, oh, you can't leave this place that you built. What you talking about? It's going with him. What you talking about? Oh, you think Ewan Lacy not going to be an LSU Tiger? You know what I mean? You think Trinidad Champion's not going to be draped in LSU Tiger? What are y'all doing? That's such a weird take. It's such a homer take, in my opinion, to sit there and go, oh, well, why would you ever leave this place in this roster? They poured so many, everything that he wants, he will gut the place. He will gut the place. And that sucks even worse. That's the worst part about all this, because, yeah, there probably is an assistant coach on that staff that's going to step up like the dad who should, right? There's probably somebody that's going to step up like the father that was, the daddy left. I'm going to step in and be the man that he never could be, right? There's probably somebody on that staff that wants to be that. But 98% of that building's going to go, oh, shit, we got promoted. And I hate to do that to you. But I feel like everybody is doing I would go, everybody knows LSU's the better job, while also telling Ole Miss, patting them on the back, saying, it's okay, everything's going to be all right. I don't know that to be the case, Rebel fans. I don't know that to be the case. That's not me. I think this guy is why you are where you are. But that's me. That's how I feel about the situation. Yeah, a lot of resources. Lot. That's me, though. Hey, speaking of me, this ain't got nothing to do with me. This got everything to do with our partners. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. If you haven't headed over to Sleeper today, you ought to. All right, use promo code Brooks. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100 over there on Sleeper. Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world. Guys, head over there today. Seriously, if you're not supporting those who are supporting us, I need you to. I need you to head over there today. Use promo code Brooks for that 100% deposit match. We appreciate those guys, and we appreciate you for being here in the chat today. Obviously, tomorrow is the college football playoff rankings. I felt it was worth talking about a little bit here tonight, at least previewing just a tad bit. I'll be in here by myself tomorrow. Hey, chat, let me know. Big dubs in the chat, first of all. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Chat, let me know what time is that college football playoff ranking. You guys are my Jonathan, by the way, today. Hey, chat, will you Google something for me? Hey, chat, what time are CFP rankings released tomorrow? Let me know that, please. We will schedule our stream in and around that tomorrow afternoon. But I have 3 big questions for the college football playoff committee tomorrow. It's really kind of a ho-hum, college football playoff rankings tomorrow, because I think I looked it up today. Of the top 18 football teams, they all either won, had a bye, or they were named Georgia Tech. So there's that. Again, let me repeat that for you. In week 13 of college football, 17 of the 18 football teams either won, had a bye, or were named Georgia Tech. 7 p.m. tomorrow. Ooh, might get a little early action. Might get a little early bedtime for yours truly on a Tuesday prior to some traveling on Wednesday. How about that? You got folks putting in Central Time out there. Time zones, weird thing. Hey, what's weirder? Time zones, time change. It's the question of the day. Speaking of questions, I got 3 for the committee tomorrow. Does Oregon leapfrog Ole Miss or Texas Tech after their win? They were the only football team, unless you consider Oklahoma's win over Missouri valuable, which we'll figure out this weekend or tomorrow if the college football playoff committee does. I mean, they started Pribula, so that means they're a top 20 team per their rankings last week. Pribs plays. They shut that ass down. Only score 17 points, though. Does Oklahoma's measly offensive performance over Missouri vault them up any, or is it not good enough for Oregon to, you know what I'm saying? Is there any movement other than Oregon? I don't know. I don't think so. Does Vandy move, right? Vandy out here just, banging Mark Stoops on the main. I'm going to do a study on it with Paul Feinbaum tomorrow. I mean, good Lord. Where they were stat padding and trying to embarrass old Marky Stoops. And that we can't have either. There was 3 gross moments in that football game. Well, 4, depending on whether or not you check Twitter and the video. This whatever. I'm not going to talk about it. I feel gross talking about it. I'm talking about a certain railing. Y'all know what I'm talking. It's gotten hella viral. I ain't got to talk about it. I mean, hell, Joey Galloway has already talked about it. That's how you know it's been plenty talked about. What was I talking about? Gross. The Heisman pose after throwing a swing screen. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy. Defamation. Throwing 1st and 10, 5 verts out of empty, up 35 points in the third against Marky Stoops. Whoa, that's just brutal. Don't be doing that to Mark Mountain. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked. Does Utah drop? I don't know if y'all saw, but they gave up damn near a gazillion points to Kansas State this past weekend. I mean, they got ran through like what was old Nick Saban's through a shit through a tin horn. I mean, they got their face ran through out there in that football game. So very curious to see if they drop Utah. Other than that, relatively clean cut rankings this weekend. I agree or disagree, chat. I think we're right on that one. Relatively straightforward. Does Oregon move up? That kind of nonsense. All right. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button in the chat. Let's get into these previews, shall we? Let's start on Friday. Let's start on Friday with the Egg Bowl. By the way, great slate on Friday. Don't know if y'all have seen it. We got the Egg Bowl at noon. We got Texas A&M at 7:30. And then we got another one, Arizona State at like 10:30. So if you are nice and turkey hungover on Friday, if your wife is out shopping, if they still do that on Black Friday, if you got the house to yourself, you got a 12 to 12 possibility here. You got a noon to 2 a.m. opportunity here on a Friday. Rare is that on a day you have off, right? Most people, I would imagine, if your boss is making you go to work on Friday into an office, to hell with him. the multi-screen over there. Just come on. As someone who may or may not have employees, I would advise them to do the same. Watch some football on Friday if you got to get called into the office. That is crazy talk post-Thanksgiving. All that being said, good slate. Good slate on Friday, and it will start at noon out there with Ole Miss at Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl, at noon on ABC. Ole Miss, a 6.5-point favorite in this football game. We've obviously talked a lot about the Rebels tonight already at this point in the stream. And, man, they have been dealing – I got to think about it today. They've been dealing with these coaching rumors. Is my coach going to leave? Am I going to have to transfer? Should I re-up on my apartment type like nonsense since the Oklahoma game? I mean, dead serious. Like, since Billy Napier has been fired, Ole Miss, the whole staff, the whole roster, the whole organization has been dealing with, are we leaving? Is our guy leaving? What's happening since the Oklahoma football game? And they've done really nothing but continue to pass tests, really nothing but continue to play relatively good football. I would dare to say great football. Like throughout the entire year, I honestly think they have passed every single test, obviously apart from the Georgia game. But if you really know Lane Kiffin's history, if you really know Ole Miss's history, they checked a tremendous box in that football game. They didn't get a stop. Georgia didn't get a stop until midway through the third quarter. Hell, I think start of the fourth. This was an Ole Miss football team that prior to this year could not travel offensively. They could not. You can look it up. We have been the show that talks about it more than any other network, and I don't watch a lot of other people, but I think we're the only one that's ever talked about Ole Miss's road home splits. And this year, they dissipated. This year, they didn't really happen, okay? They played well offensively in Norman. Like, this football team has been really, really good throughout the year. And I would argue that that's one of the biggest crying shames about this, right? Because if Sunday he is an LSU Tiger head football coach, how do you expect this football team to go on and win a playoff game? You know what I mean? How do you expect them to – but we've been talking about how do you avoid distraction the entire time with this football team, so there is that. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just this mercenary group like we talked about earlier that can just bound together, put it all together, and just whatever. The helmet's on, all that other noise doesn't matter. Let's go strike them in the face. You know what I mean? Maybe that's who they can be. Maybe Kewan Lacey's that good. Maybe the weapons can be that good. You know, there's that. But here's the ultimate actual football analysis in this one. Okay, this matchup, apart from rivalry, line of scrimmage, physicality, turnovers, all the nonchalant, like cliche analytic points that most people throw at you with these football games late in the season, especially when one team does not have has one conference win over Arkansas, the worst team in the conference. Here's the real point about this football game. Mississippi State's ran the ball 95 times in their last two games, both of which were 20-point losses. This team lines it up and run it at your face, even when they're down 3 scores. They are going to take a shitload of snaps on Friday afternoon. They are going to run the ball at Ole Miss's face for at least 40 reps. Guys, they got, I think, 4 games of 50 rushing attempts. They run the ball. That's what they do at Mississippi State. And why is that a problem for Ole Miss? Ole Miss has held only 3 opponents all year to under 100 yards rushing. It is almost guaranteed when you play Ole Miss, you're going to be able to run the rock. That's a major concern. That's a real major concern for a football team that I would imagine has spent the last 10 or 11 days, even leading up to Thanksgiving, sitting nice and fat and happy, talking about, oh, what's going to happen with our football coach. That would be a real concern in this one. All right, and here's why I say this. I don't know if it to be the case. We're going to do our predictions tomorrow. But in this football game, I wholeheartedly believe if this is a 1-score game in the fourth quarter, the dam will break for Mississippi State. It's just the reality of that defense from Ole Miss. Eventually, they get left on the field. The running defense starts to give up creases. It happened against Ole Miss or Oklahoma. Lord knows it happened against Georgia. It has happened continuously for this football team. They give up big-time run explosives late in the fourth quarters, late in third quarters, when they can't get up off the field. So I would be majorly concerned in that. I think it's the deciding factor for this football game. The ultimate X factor though, and here's the reality. I hate to say this because they've played hard all year. Mississippi State's bad on defense, guys. They just are. They're bad on defense. They take way too many risks schematically because they're bad on defense. There's a lot going on there for them to overcome, okay? And look, you know the anonymous scouts thing? If I did an anonymous scouts thing on the Mississippi State defense, it would not come out well, okay? The things I've been told about the opinions of opposing coordinators going to play that football team this year, they're just not there yet. They're just not there yet. They will continue to work. They will continue to develop. They will continue to get better. They're not good enough on defense right now. So what do? They take a lot of risks. They take a lot of risks. They do they play a lot of stuff. They don't play really anything very well, okay? And they try to create a lot of havoc. The problem with that is you can't really do that against Ole Miss. The only person I've seen play with a level of multiplicity, right? We're going to throw a bunch of shit at the wall today against Ole Miss. The only person I've ever seen do it is Oklahoma. And they tried. And they eventually, like everybody else does, reverted to man-to-man coverage and got beat. So a lot of that happens when you play Ole Miss because he's just such a good play caller. He picks you apart if you're playing any type of zone coverage. And you just ultimately resort to playing man-to-man because he can't decipher that. It's the only way or he can't beat that with a play call. He's got to beat that with a rub. He's got to beat that with a wide receiver beating your corner. It becomes a man-to-man, one-on-one. I actually can put a guy at the catch point type of defense, right? That's why most people resort to it. Hell, I saw Washington State, 5-man pressure, single high man this team for 4 quarters. It just lived with it. Washington State, I think they had 3 white DBs. I'm not shitting you. I'm dead serious. All right, so it can happen. All right, it can happen. I just don't know if Mississippi State's got the guys. They got big, long corners. I don't think they're bump and run corners. All right, so there's that. What's the chat doing tonight? Everybody in the chat right now, I want you to tell me what your Thanksgiving plans are. Not where you're going, but who you're going to be with and what you're looking forward to. All right, I'm a big dark meat guy. All right, no cranberry sauce. Get that the hell up off my plate. Big mac and cheese guy. I'm ham over turkey. All right, all the cliches. I am a stuffing over dressing guy. If it's been in the bird, it's for me. All right, but if you got the one in the nice pan tin that come out the micro or the oven, I'm hip with that too. Ain't no bad stuffing or dressing. There is no bad discussion there. All right, so let's get that going. Firing off in the chat. We love an active chat around here. Shout out to you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I wonder what we're hovering on over on YouTube. I'm gonna peek right quick. I'm gonna peep game. Let's go see what the channel's talking about. We are almost at 86,000 subscribers. We're sorry, I gave double audio there. We're almost at 700 concurrent viewers. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Not enough likes on the video right about now. People asking if I will talk about the Jared Curtis situation in the local hour. Yes, I will. Thought I heard an echo. It's just me booming. It's just me booming off the back walls here inside the studio. Yes, despite the fact that the boys are on vacation this week, we do have Diddy's this week. We will get to those shortly. How about that? Let's get to this football game. Woo, it's a big one. It's a big one this weekend. College football playoff implications? No, not really, in my opinion. SEC championship game implications? Absolutely. Texas A&M on the road in Austin at the Texas Longhorns place of business, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. The Aggies are favored by 2.5 points. Texas A&M's a firm 11-0. I have said on multiple occasions this year, they have won in every form and facet that you can possibly win in. They've won rock fights. They've won shootouts. They've won on the road. They've won through death grips where we're just going to just hold you down for 4 quarters and just hold you. They've dominated. They've won tight. They've spotted a team 27 for 28 points. They've done it all this year. All right. And, Texas, on the other hand, has played it all. Feels like they've played it all. This will be their 4th top 10 football team that they've played at time of ranking. I think all 4 teams are currently ranked inside the top 10 right now, if that seems any way at all possible. Isn't that right? It's what is it? It's Georgia, it's Ohio State, it's Oklahoma, and it's A&M. All top 10 football teams right now. they've had a gauntlet. There is no doubt about it. All right. And they have stumbled at Florida, and that's why they are in the position that they are in. We just got done doing a film study on Arch Manning. If you haven't watched it, you should. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button on this video, you should. But let's talk about it. I'll give you the recap real quick. 3 bullet points to start this one. First and foremost, they still can't run the ball. It's like 2 years now. Last year, I feel like they had spurts of success, but when they played the big boys, it was boxed for 4. Hell, I think Arizona State boxed them for 4, if my memory serves me. They can't run the ball. They still can't run the ball. It is hoping and praying Wisner makes 3 people miss, and then, wow, we got a 9-yard run. And then maybe some end rounds and some extension of the run game. That's it. They cannot run between the tackles. Hell, they can't run off tackle right about now. So there is that. They still aren't helping him They still aren't helping him out all that much. Good Lord. They still aren't helping him out all that much out there wide receiver. A lot of drops, a lot of stuff, a lot of not winning at the contested catch point, a lot of getting tackled by shoestrings, a lot of not playing up to the standard that their prospective profile would indicate, which is kind of the theme of this football team this year, in my opinion. I think Texas has yet to play to their capability, honestly, like at all. I don't think at any point this year has Texas played to their standard and their capability in terms of roster makeup. And you'll say, but Brooks, they beat the shit out of Arkansas last week. And I would tell you, Arkansas's defense is just about as bad as an SEC defense can humanly possibly be at this point in the season. They were bad before they fired their entire defensive staff. They're atrocious now. They're really, really bad. So there's that. But I'll tell you this much, man. It is impressive to watch because they're not protecting him. They're not helping him. They're not running the ball. It's all 16. It's all Arch Manning right now. He's standing tall, shucking off grown-ass men at a really, really high rate. I mean, the sack avoidance on this kid, good Lord, all of the Diddies right now. The ability for this kid to avoid sacks against defensive linemen that are massive is tremendously impressive. That is my number one takeaway about watching Arch Manning over the last 6-7 weeks. Holy hell, how big is that kid? Holy hell, how strong, how athletic is he? Honestly, I haven't seen a quarterback just throw off defenders like this guy. Like, I'm talking about 285-pound men with an arm wrapped around his waist, and he just runs through it like it's a swinging door at a Western bar. Okay? I haven't seen dudes do this at the quarterback position, honest to God, and he's not twitchy like this kid, but his torso and his lower half must be this strong. It's very Caleb Williams-y, all right? The way Caleb Williams has grown men just flounder at him and just runs through arm tackles like he's a cinder block. That's what this kid does, all right? Because you'll look at that box score and you'll see, 0 sacks allowed against Arkansas. Texas's offensive line must be, solved. Wrong, false, absolute falsehoods. Anytime Arkansas dared to rush 5, they got home. But most of the time they rushed 3 like a bunch of dippies, okay, and gave up 20-yard chunks to a quarterback that was hotter than a firecracker. Just, again, really bad defensively out there at Arkansas. But they are doing a tremendous job giving him a lot of help right now in the screen game, extension of run game, giving him easy completions early in the football game, getting him swings at it and completions, right? Getting good contact early in the football game. And I think they're doing a good job of that, right? Not letting him miss bats, okay? Getting him good, hittable counts early on in the football game. I'll tell you this much, though. Ain't no way in hell A&M plays a quarter of the amount of zone that Arkansas did this past weekend. I would imagine A&M feels as if they can cover these guys, and they can cover these guys for 4 quarters. You know why I think that? Because A&M has basically taken that approach with just about everybody. A&M has said, we're going to line up, we're going to get after your ass, and that's that. Okay, y'all ready? All right, we're ready. Let's go. That's their game plan. So I'm very curious to see how that one ultimately plays out. We had a film study. And thus, around here, if you're new, as you can tell, sometimes I say very suspicious things. And sometimes we make a compilation of these suspicious things. We call them Diddies. Prepare to be Diddied. Well, shut up. It was grind. The ball was spraying all over the place. We got to be able to play with big-time humans lingering and hanging all over our body. And look, I know people are going to get put into our lap occasionally in college. I mean, that's as easy as it gets. Great job putting it on his face right there, Q. Very rarely have I ever seen him miss a naked one. Come on. Finish. I think he knows he's got his tight end open. You better find whoever's nearest to you and plaster him. All right. For the love of God, son, if we can't say you need to find him and plaster him, what are we doing? If that's suspicious, you might as well flag every word in the film study. I mean, for the love of God. I mean, hey, great. Also, yeah, we do want to put the football on his face. Now, should I say great job putting the football on his face? Probably. But God forbid a man's efficient around here. God forbid man says ball on the face. Immature. Lock it in. Lock it in, lock it up. Hit that thumbs button. Keys to the football game. By the way, this is going to get sub-episode. This ain't even just a live thing. This is going, multiple people, brand new people are going to find Diddy's today. They're going to be like, what is this place? It's a place of ball worship and ball knowledge. We love those who are ball curious around this network. That's what we're about. Is A&M willing to be basic offensively? I've been talking about this one for a couple weeks, basically since the LSU first half. Like, can y'all – I love that we want to progress this guy as a thrower. That's awesome. I love that we are looking out for his long-term future at the quarterback position. Hell, I love that y'all are looking out for the long-term future of your offensive identity, right? Because if Colin Klein's going to be there for another year and Marcel Reed's going to be there for another year, we're only scratching the surface of what it's ultimately going to be. And honest to God, next year you're going to have to actually do this a lot at a higher rate because we presume Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver may not be there, right? They might be headed off to the NFL. So you better continue to progress him. That being said, can we do so with the lead? Can we do so with like a 2-score lead? Like RPO and run the football, coach. RPO, run the football, move the pocket, play action deep shots when you want to get aggressive and hunt a chunk. But other than that, big dog, like you are a 35 to 40 point offense a game if you just throw RPO slants, run the football, and run scissors off play action. Honest to God. That I think that highly of Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, their run game, their offensive line, and their RPO package. And I'm not an RPO guy. I hate it. I hate RPOs. I think if the base building blocks of your offense are RPO, you have a bad offense. That being said, not them, because they do it right. They are RPO slant based, not RPO 50-50 back shoulder ball based. I hate that crap. They are get the ball to the weapons now. Watch what these two do. And those two are crazy good after the catch. So don't look, when you get a 2-score lead, if you get a 2-score lead, go do that. But what we cannot do is give the opposing offense, who has had flaws all year, we cannot give them short fields in a rivalry game. We cannot do it. And if we're trying to progress our quarterback in a rivalry game, one that means something for an SEC title opportunity, we might open ourselves to mistakes, and mistakes will ultimately open ourselves to potentially losing this football game. This one's about sealing the deal, baby. If you win this one 21-14, 21-17, 20-17, nobody gives a shit. You won it on the road. Make it ugly. Put your toe in the line and get into a boxing match and see who knocks one or the other out. Don't be making this about, we're trying to progress our quarterback and show the world that he can go win a Heisman throwing for 30 traditional dropbacks. That's a bad recipe. For Texas, man, here's the recipe. For Texas, offensively, we have to do whatever we can to allow 16 to continue to carry our corpse. Okay? So we got to keep him upright. We got to get the ball out of his hands early. We got to know that we can't run the ball, but we got to try to be somewhat balanced in some way or form or fashion, something, all right, without Torian York just wreaking havoc, all right? But we cannot allow them to eliminate 16. And the only way to eliminate 16 right now is to put him on his back. And there's a lot of teams that have been able to do that this year. So we can't let that happen. This is a good one of those teams, by the way. They can get after the quarterback. So we got to keep 16 upright whatever way we possibly can. Defensively, okay, we cannot allow them to just scheme number one out the game. Can't happen. Cannot allow them every time. Like, he's got to be, honest to God, you got to change the way. I would change the way you defensively align yourself. I would put him to the field every single time. And here's why. You can't roll out away from him. That's what teams are doing to him. You can't, first of all, you can't roll the quarterback into the boundary. You can't. There's no team I've ever seen sprint roll out their quarterback into the boundary. We sprint roll out when the ball is on the hash. Most of the time, the ball is on the left hash. So every time the ball's on the left hash, Colin Simmons better be to the field because they're probably trying to roll the cue because they don't want to leave him in the pocket. All right, so you see what I'm saying? We cannot allow offensive coordinators to go, hey, where's number one? Okay, use the other 47 yards on the field. Don't go anywhere near him. Let's make sure we do that, okay? Let's make sure we do that. We cannot allow them to scheme him away. Same thing for 0. Is Anthony Hill back to himself? You might know that. Is Anthony Hill back to himself? I know he was banged up after the Georgia game. Is he going to play this week? It's a major indication for their ultimate success in this football game for my money. I guess we'll find out maybe tomorrow, Wednesday. Maybe do they have to go Tuesday because they play on Friday? I would imagine with the injury report stuff. We'll talk more about this tomorrow when we actually get into prediction analysis. But I never say this, and I can say this because I highly, highly, highly doubt Christian Kirby is watching. If Christian Kirby's watching, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something. This is a real big special teams game from a punt return standpoint. There's no doubt in my mind one of these punt returners is going to flip the field, and it could be a like momentum changing play. Could be an absolute momentum changing play. So there's that. Ooh, Ant Hill will play this week. That's good. That's good for Texas chances there. Huge. Not even really not even special teams. It's a huge punt return, punt cover. Huge punt cover game. Like, you kick the bitch out of bounds. You know what I mean? Shank a pot of moose. Shank a pot of moose. Get it out of here. Heap hop anonymous. Out of the stadium. Do not punt to either of these punt returners. Don't do it. Shout out to those in the chat that get that reference. Let's go on. Dead bodies. I need you to tell all your partners in them they are not allowed to fly around my studio. It's going to be dead bodies. Ohio State at Michigan. Big noon kickoff on Saturday. Kick your Saturday slate off with this monstrosity. I'm just kidding. It's a monstrous game is what my brain was about to try to tell me. Monstrous football game between two premier rivalries. I know I am known as an SEC hack. This is always one of my favorite games. This has been one of my favorite games since it used to be annually 1 versus 2. I mean, in the early aughts, this felt like the national title. Now, it'll never feel like the national title ever again because of the way the college football playoff is. And now there's 12 teams. It's not even tight for 4. You don't even have to win this game anymore. That was never more prevalent than last year when Ohio State lost this one and went on to win the national title. But here's what I will say about this one. I do believe there are football teams that struggle to get over certain humps. There is no doubt about it. Hell, I started my career covering one of them, and I still cover that football team, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs. They can't get over Alabama. I will pick Alabama every single time until I am proven wrong. They cannot get over that hump. Not in the regular season. They did in the national title one time, but every time there is a mental hurdle. You can feel it. You 100% can feel it. You can feel it in the inverse every time Tennessee plays Georgia. There is a mental hurdle. You can see it every single time Texas plays Georgia, for that matter. There is beginning to be a mental hurdle. I think there's a mental hurdle with this Ohio State football team in Michigan. Now, look, I'm probably going to pick Ohio State to win the football game because I think they're ultimately talented. But this is we struggle with this football team because we have this bravado about trying to beat them their way. That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel as if Ohio State has lost these last 4 matchups. Now, granted, Michigan could do that to you a couple years ago in their national title run. That was an elite physical football team that could limit possessions, grind you to freaking death, and win a 27-21 football game every day of the week on their way to a national title against anybody. That's a different situation. But especially last year. I felt like last year, Ryan Day and that whole staff was just like, watch this. We finna bully these bitches. We're going to take it. We're going to take it to Michigan. We're a big, bad brother. We're going to get over this last 3 years. And what happened? They played right into their hand. They played the brand of football that they wanted to. Buddy, I don't care. I don't care if you feel like as if you got to out physical. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's not how you win at Ohio State, by the way. Not in my opinion. You might feel that way. You might tell the world that it's paint chips flying at practice, and y'all might feel as if y'all are a physical brand of football, and you are to an extent because it's football. You have to be, especially on defense. But your offense is not that. Your offense is Ferrari. Your offense is not F-250 Raptor. Your offense is Ferrari. Drive the Ferrari. Drive it fast. Throw it. Have fun. Do the cool shit. Drive the machine. Don't be out here slogging this thing down because you feel like you got to prove a point. No, prove a point by scoring 50. That's how you prove a point. That's the way I feel about this matchup between these two football teams. All right, do not get into this war of toughness. That's how they win. You're playing into their hand. If you just want to make this, watch us dominate the line of scrimmage. That gives them a chance. They don't have the weaponry with you, buddy. They do not have the Jimmies and Joes outside the box to even be on the same field with you, in my opinion. So there is that. For Michigan, right, can you do this? For Michigan in the key in this football game, can you make this a line of scrimmage football game? Can you be so dominant up front against their offensive line that they can't really throw the football, all right, and they damn sure can't run the ball? Can you make them one-dimensional, tee off on their pass rush, knock Julian Sayin off his spot, make it ugly? That's the only recipe for success, in my opinion, because I do not believe that any Big Ten football team in the regular season will score 21-plus points on this defense. I have said this about them all year. The only offense I think's even got a shot to score 21-plus points is maybe Indiana or Oregon. And unfortunately, with Oregon, we won't get to see that one. All right, but we might with Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. So you're going to have to win this football game 17-14 if you're Michigan, in my opinion. Here's something I want to bring to your attention. This, in my opinion, has a potential to be Bryce Underwood's biggest test of his college football career. And you'll say, Brooks, be careful, man. He's a freshman. This ain't even close to where he's going to be in his career. You know, he's got a lot of football left to play, all that. I'm very well aware of where he's at in his career. But here's why I say this. He will never play an opponent that is this high quality with this little amount of firepower. He will never be this outmatched in his career. He will, I hope to God not. I hope to God Michigan's roster only gets better around him the next 2 years when he plays this football team. I hope to God that Michigan's wholesome parts around him become better. All right. I don't know if Ohio State's going to be better than they are now. I don't know how they could be. I thought that last year, but somehow, some way, they seem to be even more dominant. So perhaps they just stay where they're at. The world's best roster in the best football team on the planet. Maybe they stay there. But I highly doubt Michigan's down here offensive talent-wise. This will be the biggest test this kid ever has to pass. And I don't know if he's going to be able to. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. I want to bring something else to your attention. Michigan's 4 top corners. And if there's a Michigan fan in the chat tonight, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. All right, please. This is what my research says. Jair Hall, Jaden Sanders, Elijah Dotson, Josiah Edmond. Those are their 4 top corners in this football game. 2 of them are true freshmen. The other are sophomores. This is a massive test for 4 really, really young football players. That doesn't mean they're not uber talented because they're a blue chip roster at Michigan. They recruit inside the top 12. We all know what the deal is. All right. All that being said, it's a massive test for those young football players. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to Vandy at Tennessee. Let's make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. By the way, no telling what the time slot's going to be. I might run long. I might run short. I know I've got a good solid 30 to 35 minutes alone on just the Georgia Tech game. So we got plenty in that one for the quote-unquote local hour. But I am in here by myself, as you can tell, and we're absolutely hammering it. And I need you to hammer that like button. All right, make sure you're doing that. There's a lot of people watching right about now, and we appreciate you for being in here today with us. Let's try to get that YouTube stream over 1,000. You know what I mean? We're about to hit 86,000 subscribers. Let's get this stream over 1,000 viewers. I would love that tonight. All right, let's get on to Vandy at Tennessee. The Vanderbilt Commodores head up to Neyland Stadium to take on the Tennessee Volunteers at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN on Saturday afternoon. The Volunteers favored by 2.5 points in this football game, despite being the 3-loss football team and despite Vanderbilt being the team fighting for their playoff and Heisman hopeful lives. The Doors, like I said, the underdog on the road. We'll be previewing this game on Paul Feinbaum tomorrow at 4:30. Make sure you set your alarms and clocks for that one. If you're not a live TV viewer, don't worry about it. We'll have it uploaded here on the YouTube channel immediately afterwards, as soon as Daniel Bramlett, the fine executive producer over there with the Feinbaum Show, gets us that MP4. But, man, we talked about it to start the show. What a stat padding performance from Diego Pavia. I only watched the TV copy. I've not had the chance to look at the All-22. We will do so tonight and tomorrow in prep for that Paul Feinbaum hit, because that's what we'll be watching. You throw for damn near 500 yards against an SEC football team, we're probably going to have to watch it. All that being said, Pavia threw for 484, had 500 yards of total offense. Guys, I think if Tennessee had not called the dogs off against Kentucky in that football game, they might have thrown for 1,000. So it is what it is. Both of these teams absolutely gutted Kentucky's pass defense. So there is that. The over set at 65.5, and I think I might take the over, to be honest with you right now. Vandy, I said this after watching them against South Carolina, and I had people do the box score scouting thing and be like, oh, he threw 464 yards against South Carolina. Yeah, I know. I know what the box scores look like, guys. I'm not the box score guy. I'm the film guy. And from week 1, game 1, snap 1, Vandy has been a vertical passing football team. I again, not a stats guy, but I would venture to say they're in the top 25 in explosive passing data. I would venture to say this is a football team that has a dozen 30-plus yard plays, probably maybe 2 dozen. I would venture to say this is one of the more explosive offenses that we have in college football right about now. And people think of Vandy and they think, oh, this lovable, 2-loss underdog story that grinds possessions out, holds the time of possession, really limits the opportunities for the other team to hold the football, plays competent defense, and is good at red zone football team. That's probably what they think of Vandy. They are dead wrong about what Vandy is. Vandy is I'm trying to cut your throat right now football team. Vandy is no longer a football team that's 19 play drives. Guys, they probably had 7 18-play scoring drives last year. That is not anymore. They are a quick scoring football team. They are trying to get chunks. My biggest question about this football team, all right, is which one of these defenses decides to show up. Now, Vandy has not had one of these absolute lay-down performances from an effort tackling standpoint, assignment alignment standpoint. When they get beat, they get beat. I think Tennessee's offense has a really, really good chance to just beat them, all right? But Tennessee's defense, on the other hand, they played really, really admirably last week against Florida. All that being said, up to this point last week, and I'm going to say this on Feinbaum tomorrow, they can't tackle a toddler. They are really, really bad in the second and third levels with regards to getting people on the ground. And that is a really, really scary proposition in this matchup, considering Vandy's got like 6 weapons that are hard to tackle. Really hard to tackle. Like great playmakers after the catch, great playmakers after contact, tremendously tough tackles. That scares me. It really scares me about this one. I tweeted about this one today. I do not believe this to be true. I do not believe a 3-loss football team can ever, right now as it currently constitutes, make a 12-team playoff. I don't think that is the case. Way too many 10-2 football teams. Hell, there's shaping up to be, 4 of them in the SEC alone. So don't be out here telling me that you lose 3 games, you have a chance to make a college football playoff. I'm talking to Texas. I'm really talking to Texas because they're the football program that thinks that they deserve this because they've beaten top 10 football teams despite the fact that they lost to 2 of them. And one of them was a 25-point loss. And despite the fact that they got throttled by Florida. They got throttled by Florida. If you watch that football game, I didn't feel as if it was ever in doubt that Florida was about to win that one and win that one considerably and handedly. So that's just me. That's the way I feel. All that being said, I just hated on Texas. I'm going to hate on them some more. If any SEC football team, in my opinion, has the right to stand on the table and say, you know what? If there were ever a 9-3 SEC team to make it, maybe it should be us, even though we didn't deserve it and we didn't earn it. It would be Tennessee. Tennessee does not have a bad loss. I don't believe they do. Oklahoma beat them handedly in their own home stadium. Really turnover-filled football game. All right, I will give you that one. But that Alabama game, and I've said this over and over again, that was a 17-point loss that really was a 14-point swing right before the half. And it was an absolute gut-wrenching, on-the-road, pick-six, 14-point swing right there before the half. That is awful. That is, but that's not in my opinion, not a quote-unquote terrible loss. I thought that loss could be boiled down to 2 or 3 plays. All right, and I'm not one of those guys. I don't allow you to excuse away seasons, even though I'm about to do it. All right. We know what the Georgia game was, week 3, game 3 for these football teams. That was a pushed field goal, should have been won. So they don't have a bad loss, in my opinion, and they're going to end up probably 9-3, assuming they beat Vandy this weekend. They're favored to do so. They're going to end up 9-3, and it's going to feel like a disappointing season. And in reality, they lost their starting quarterback after the spring game. And they had 3 losses to 2 top 10 football teams, all of which you could look at and say, man, any other year, we might win 2 of those 3 games. And we're 11-1 and we're the top 5 seed and we're hosting a home playoff game. And it's not the situation right now. And if ands, candy, butts, nuts, and all that good stuff, I'm with you. But I'm just saying, man, if there were ever a football team that's out here arguing for it would be this one. It wouldn't be Texas for me. But neither of them can say that they're a college football playoff team, and rightfully so. I'm with you. I'm not that much of an SEC hack. Like, dude, you can't say you're a playoff team if you lost all 3 of your top 10 matchups. Well, you got to go play 5 of those. You got to go play 4 of those in a row. How can you sit here and tell me that you're a playoff team if you can't beat playoff teams? See what I'm saying? So I'm with you. But have we had a lovable story go sour this quickly with Diego Pavia? I feel like he went from lovable to loathable in a matter of months. But here's the spin. I think that's a sign that you've gone from lovable underdog story to we don't like him because he's winning. We don't like him because he's doing it. You know what I mean? Everybody, including me, I made fun of you this offseason when you were on friend of the show, Will Compton and Taylor Lewan, Busting with the Boys, and you were like, Nashville's the new standard. Vandy's the new standard. I'm going to win a Heisman. We're going to go for a playoff run. And I'm like, buddy, pipe down. It's Vandy. You went 7-5 last year. And what are we doing? We're right here. We're 9-2. We're right here. We're 9-2. He's arguably, he's not arguably. He's probably going to be invited to New York. Win, lose, or draw this weekend, I bet Pavia is in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He has done a lot of what he said he was going to do. And what do you do? What do you do other than tip your cap and say, look, I don't like the way you're doing it, but you're doing it. You know, I don't like the fact that you're on TikTok doing Heisman dances. I don't like the fact that you throw a swing pass and you do a Heisman pose. I don't like the 2-turn chains on. Of course, I deserve the Heisman after having 165 yards of total offense against Missouri. Like, I don't like any of these things. I don't. But you have called your shot at Vandy, dude. Tip of the cap, ball player. Holy hell. Let's move on to the Iron Bowl. Alabama at Auburn, 7:30 on ABC on Saturday night. It's a big one. We all know this game is a toss the records out football game, especially, 1,000 times more so, throw the records out. None of that matters. These 2 teams are evenly matched in this one. Equal the sliders. 1,000 times more so when it's at Auburn, and 2,000 times more so when it's at night. When this football game is played at night in Jordan-Hare, no telling. All right. And I believe in that. Like we said a couple weeks ago, I'm a football gods guy. I think there's something spooky going on out there. I truly believe that. All those games are way tighter than they ever should be. That environment is insane. It produces some of the most crazy moments this conference has ever seen, including some this year. Okay. So all that being said, sources tell me that there is not a shot in hell that Deuce Knight starts this football game. I think they're going back to Ashton Daniels, and that's cool. I also want to look at something else. I want to look at losses or the games after Kalen DeBoer losses. For my record, he is 4-1. All right, after losses. Now, there's a caveat there. Do you count the Michigan to Florida State as consistent and congruent timetables? Or is that a loss against Michigan, clean the slate, another loss against Florida State? Now we have game after loss type environment. You see what I'm saying? Because it is a whole new roster. It's a whole new team. It's a whole new starting quarterback. So you can either say they're 4-1 after a loss under Kalen DeBoer after the 5 losses, or you can choose to say he's 4-0 and there was a break in between. It doesn't really matter to me. Most of the time in season, when he has an opportunity to avenge a loss within 7 days, he's 4-0. That's what it is. All right. He, what was it? It was a loss to FSU after the Michigan Bowl game, but he beat ULM, obviously, after Florida State loss. He beat Auburn after the OU loss last year. He beat Missouri after the Tennessee loss last year. Beat them handedly, 34-0, I think. And then he beat South Carolina last year. Or excuse me, he beat Missouri after the Tennessee loss really handedly at home, and then beat South Carolina after the Vandy loss. So the guy is pretty good after losses. He's won most of those handedly, a couple of them tight football games. But as most SEC defenses, I think Auburn's a bad matchup for Alabama in this football game because they're going to eliminate that run game. I don't care if he ran for 269 yards against Eastern Illinois. I don't really care. That's cool. That's really, really awesome. It's a different animal. It's a different level of capability at the line of scrimmage. This is a different kind of animosity at the line of scrimmage. This will ultimately be a different result at the line of scrimmage. The other thing to pay attention in this football game, Auburn has forced 17 turnovers this year, 11 of them via interception. They can and will turn you over. All right, so that's something to pay attention to. Now, I don't know how Auburn scores offensively, but that's another debate for another day. I mean, it's something we've been talking about. Apart from the Kentucky game, they've been pretty putrid all year offensively. And I know Ashton Daniels has provided a sense of life and some spark. And I know it looked good against Mercer, at least for 3 quarters, but it's 9-1 Mercer. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see about that. My wonder is whether or not Ty Simpson looks like himself again. And we've talked about it on this network quite a bit this year. They are putting absolutely everything on his shoulders. And most of the time, he's looked like a superhero. He's going to have to do that exact same thing again this weekend. Because, again, I'm telling you, I do not think they are going to be able to run the football successfully against Auburn. What makes you think they will? 269 against Eastern Illinois. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. So, and chat saying we're going to bench Jam Miller and start Hill. I heard Jam Miller can't use his left leg. So that's a deep pull for this channel and this channel only. But in all seriousness, I think you kind of did against Oklahoma. You gave Daniel Hill 15 totes. I think he had 64 yards. It still wasn't enough. You still went away from it in the fourth quarter because you felt like it wasn't consistently efficient. If I'm forced with the decision of here's the 2 paths. All right, here's path 1. Path 1 is to throw the football. We got like a 33% chance of a 25-yard explosive or a 20-yard explosive. We got a 33% chance of an incompletion. We got a 33% chance of an 8-yard sack. Or we have a 20% chance of an efficient run and an 80% chance of an inefficient run. Oh, actually, let's go 20% chance of an efficient run, 70% chance of an inefficient run, 10% chance of an absolute negative, terrible havoc play. You're probably going to throw the football. That's what they're doing out there. That's what they've consistently done out there at Alabama. And I would do the same exact thing. But what it requires is the quarterback to be superhuman. And if he has any type of off day, like he did against Oklahoma, or like the offense did as a whole against FSU, you're going to lose. And maybe not this one because Auburn's not good enough offensively, but it is what it is. Jam Miller's right leg is made of IHOP hash browns. That is crazy. That is crazy. Should we move on to the local hour? Let's do so. Let's right into it. A loaded local hour for you guys right here. I guess let's start with the off-the-cuff thoughts about Jared Curtis. I can't see it. I cannot see. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see it happening. That being said, I'm more likely to think it happens by the hour every single day, and here's why. This story's been brewing for like 3 weeks now. Article after article, day after day, topic after topic, it keeps getting brought up. And to my understanding, no one from the Curtis camp has ever once called and said, hey, baby, don't worry about that noise. I still love you. Never. And the other weird thing about this is up until this point, from everything that I have heard, never once have I heard anything about, I want to play as a true freshman. It's very, very important to me, to my development, that I play as a true freshman. Never once have I heard that. Not until literally like the last month. Now all of a sudden Vandy's selling this and they're getting their foot in the door with, we going to pay you and we going to let you play as a freshman. Also, I thought it was really, really weird. If you saw the NCAA violation of Diego Pavia talking about a high school football player, look, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just telling you, it's a violation. You shouldn't speak about high school athletes when you're a college athlete or a college football coach. It's not allowed by the NCAA bylaws. Just letting you know. Don't give a shit. Don't care. Just letting you know. Looking out for you, honestly. If you heard him say in that comment, I'm excited to come back and watch my backup and then watch Curtis. So I know what Pavia's doing. Pavia's just trying not to shit on his current teammate and not admit that if Curtis comes here, he's the future. But I thought that was even weird. It's like even the spokesperson of this like deal, who is his so-called friend, and they're like, what do you call it? Mentor-mentee relationship they got going on between Pavia and Curtis. Even his guy was out in front of a microphone, basically, I'm not saying he's in a tough spot. What's he going to do? Say his teammate's about to get put to the bench for this high school kid that's coming in? Or is he about to say that, I'm excited for my teammate now to play and then watch this kid play? But you see what I'm saying? It's contradicting what they're actually selling him on the recruiting service or on the recruiting side, which is, if you come here, we're going to pay you a bunch of money and we're going to play you as a true freshman. It's weird. I don't think it's going to be a situation where he does flip. But like I said, I'm like 51-49 right now. Talk to me in 2 days. I might be 50-50. I have no idea. So there's that. Oh, I know what I wanted to start the local hour with. And look, I have not been to as many high school football games this year as I should. Okay. I have not been out on the trail and grinding as I should. And the reason being, you know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how hard I'm working. I feel like I'm working hard enough that on Friday nights it's very important that I sit at home with my wife and kids before I'm gone all day Saturday, before I'm back in here in the lab all day Sunday, and before I'm back here in the lab all day Monday, before I'm back in the lab Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's very important for me that I don't just turn August through February into a Monday through Sunday operation. It's not healthy for me, so I take Fridays off. All that being said, I thought the GHSA made a horrible decision this week. All right. And again, I'm not the one to give this opinion because I'm not out here with the boots on the ground. All that I understand. I wasn't even there. But I've watched a lot of videos of what happened between Brunswick and Gainesville this past weekend. And in my opinion, what I saw was a team down 42-3 in the middle of the third quarter. The team that was down was Brunswick. And I saw a Brunswick defensive back decide, I'm going to start a fight right now. And then proceeds to start a fight. I saw two Gainesville football players being like, I'm not engaging in this nonsense, one of which his helmet fell off. And then the Brunswick kid from the video that I saw proceeded to open hand stick him right in the chin. Then a Brunswick offensive lineman comes in and just barrel rolls everybody. And then at that point, the Gainesville sidelines had come out to hopefully dispersed the activities. And now 39 Gainesville football players have been suspended. And here's my take on this. Regular season is the time to let the world know that you got power. That's the time. And honestly, it's never the time to let high school football players know that you have unwielding power. It's not really the move ever. It's never going to win a PR battle for you. All right, but if you're ever going to do that in the regular season. Don't be out here just throwing a season to the shitter, giving 39 kids a suspension, knowing good and damn well their season's done now. It would be an absolute miracle. The most outlandish win of all time if Gainesville finds a way to win this weekend. Stupid. I thought it was really, really stupid. I thought it was... let's get into this Georgia Tech preview. I think I'm getting better about that nowadays, guys, honestly. I just hold my tongue. It's very, very important. I used to do these willy-nilly, off the cuff, and man, 4 or 5 years ago, you catch some like Monday night, Brooks by himself in the studio, ripping for an hour and a half. There is no earthly idea what I was willing to say and like how angry I would get at some of these takes. I about called that decision bullshit. I'm not going to do it, even though I think it's bullshit. Let's get into the actual film stuff or actual analysis about this football game that Georgia's got going on this weekend. Here's what I know about Georgia Tech. You ready? Here's what I know about Georgia Tech. Let's start with the offense. Third year under Buster Faulkner and Haynes King. And here's what I've always said about football, okay? It's important that we know the what. What are we doing? What offensive play do we got called, right? It's very important to know the what. Otherwise, we're going to bust assignments left and right. We have to educate our 11 guys on the field on what we are doing. It's also very important to know the how. How do we go about doing what coach has asked me to do? We got to know the what. What are we doing? We got to know how. How do we get it done? Now, where we unlock the football player and allow him to play free is when we know the why. Knowing the why gives me the goosies as a football coach, and here is why. If I know the what we are doing, if I know how we are coached to do it, and I know why the coach is calling the play that he's calling, I've got it all. I've got it all. I know exactly where the defense is compromised. I know why my coach has called this play after calling that play 2 plays ago. He set this up. I know who he's picking on. And guess what? I don't have the opportunity to talk back to him. So now we're on the same page. We are seeing the entire field the same exact way. And he is 600 feet from me up in that mythical box. That's important. That's really, really important. That's what these two guys got going on for them right about now. The other thing to know about this offense, every play has multiple wrinkles, okay? You're almost better playing and practicing without the ball. I truly believe this. Back in the day, if you had a triple option team coming to town, like an old wing tee, if your defensive coordinator wasn't practicing without the ball, making sure you tackled all the threats, that's bad business. That's bad coaching. He's preparing you to fail, right? By failing to prepare, okay? If you're not practicing without a ball against teams like this, I think you're in trouble because you never know where it's going to go. For prime example, the triple arrow. We talk about it all the time. We got an inside zone action with the running back. We have a read option keep with the quarterback. We have the tight end flaring into the flat. We have a wide receiver hooking up into the zone. There's 4 options there. The running back could get the ball. The quarterback could run the ball. The tight end could get the ball. The wide receiver in the hookup could get the ball. We got to practice without a ball. We got to shut all the options down because there's a plethora of opportunities to get us on every single given play. It's why their offense is so damn good. Now, the other thing to notice about this team, they are much faster than a lot of people realize. Not like speed-wise. They play faster. Like when you first thought of Georgia Tech, when you probably think this is a slow, methodical football team. Guys, they're like 95th in pace of play. They are bottom of the barrel in terms of we hold the rock. Now, why is that? Because they know the why. The quarterback knows the why. Jamal Haynes has been there several years. The Rutherford kid's been there a while. They know what's going on. The offensive lines played a lot of snaps together. They know what they're doing. They play really fast. They're They're not only a team that's giving you a lot of options and creating a lot of threats and causing a lot of what's going on. Now they've added pace to it, and that's what's created such explosive offensive firepower for these guys throughout the year. Okay, so it's very, very important. They used to be methodical, no longer. The other thing to note about this matchup, and this has always been the case when you have former staffers going to other places, this guy knows the keys. Buster knows how to get principal beaters versus you guys. All right. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is. His openers will be exactly that. You got to knock him off of his pace. You got to knock him off of his script in his openers, because he's going to, and I mean going to, know what you're doing, okay, and know how to compromise it. It's very similar to playing lane. All right. Lane's going to know what defense you're playing and where the defense is compromised. He's going to call a play to do that. We got to beat the play. We just have to. We have to get this guy into a 2nd and 12, throw him off his script. We'll get off the field in those openers. That's very, very important in these types of games when the coordinator on the other side is really, really good. Jamal Haynes does not get tackled in the 2nd and 3rd levels. I don't think. If that guy gets passed and out into the open field, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And he's arguably their best wide receiver as well. The offensive line is what I would classify as tough and technical. I would not say there's a bunch of dudes that are going to get NFL retirement on the offensive line. Now, it's important to note that if you don't know Brent Key's background, Brent Key was offensive line coach at Alabama. Brent Key is – this is how respected Brent Key is. If Brent Key offers offensive lineman, it's like a freaking radar goes off, like a siren goes off inside the scouting departments everywhere around college football. Brent Key's found one. He knows something. We need to go pay attention. That's how highly of a thought process people have on Brent as an offensive line guy. So even though they don't have dudes, know that they're better coached than 99.9% of college football offensive linemen. All right. And add on top of that, they get helped out a lot because defense is doing a lot of this. Where's the ball at? Where's it going? And when defenses are playing flat-footed on their heels, trying to read and key shit in front of them, they're going to get knocked back. All right. So a lot of that is created by scheme, but a lot of that is created based on the fact that they're extremely well coached. That being said, I don't know if they have enough to believe that they will handle Georgia's front for 4 quarters. The last 3 years, there have been drives that are just absolutely killed because Georgia has 3 defensive linemen parked 2.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and that's just not a way to consistently have success. I love seeing Isaiah Canyon getting extended playing time. For those of you who don't know, Isaiah Canyon, number 4 for this Georgia Tech offense of unit. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening that might know, but I was pretty well intact with that recruitment process. Relationship with a lot of people that recruited him, a lot of people that coached him, very well aware of what was going on with Isaiah late in his recruitment process. From my understanding, that kid turned down Notre Dame and Georgia to go to Georgia Tech. You better be force-feeding that kid. Y'all better be getting that dude touches. That is a recruiting dub. That is a recruiting win that you need to show the world that not only did we beat these guys for this guy, this is a dude for us. We turned this into profit. You know what I mean? That's very important to me. If I'm in that scouting department. Now, the other thing you need to know about this offense, they got a very similar to Vandy. They got a lot of these dudes that they just spit the ball to in the flat extended box area, and they're a bitch to tackle. So it's a big week for tackling. Absolutely huge week for tackling. Defensively, they've been really, really bad as of late. I don't mean to demean the roster, but this is the reality, okay? There's probably not a defensive player on Georgia Tech's starting unit that could play or start at Georgia. And that's just I think that's the harsh reality. Okay, they've given up 1,500 yards of total offense in the last 3 games combined. For those of you that are good at math, that's 500 yards of total offense a game. All right. And I think the slate has been Pittsburgh, who we got, Boston College, and NC State gave them 585 yards of total offense. Okay. This has not been a very well-performing football team as of late on the defensive side of the football. They have held just one football team to under 100 yards on the ground. So it's not only that they're giving it up, buddy, they're getting their face ran through on the defensive side of the football. That's bad news going up against what I would argue to be a top 5 offensive line and running game in Georgia. That's how I think. Any given Saturday, they line it up. You give me a great defense, and I say, hey, who can actually successfully run the football today and not become one-dimensional? I'm going to pick a lot of football teams, but I'm gonna be quick to pick Georgia. Anybody else disagree with me there? I don't think so. So there's that. It's a bad matchup for Georgia Tech on the defensive side of football. It sounds to me. Look, I'll find more out when I do a deep dive on the actual all 22, not just the TV copy. The box scores and the TV copy read to me like they don't got enough ass. Like they can't stand in, hold the line of scrimmage, hold the point of the attack, and consistently tackle people. That's what it sounds like to me. When you just box score scout them and watch them on TV, they don't look thick enough. Okay. And I think that's the problem. Now, let's talk about where these two football teams are right about now. I think they're in 2 different story arcs. All right. I think got one football team kind of limping to the finish right now in Georgia Tech. One football team that is just, man, we got to survive. We've been trying to survive the last month of the season, and now we got Georgia coming to town inside of an unfamiliar territory for us because we've only played in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I think, once in the last calendar year, and Georgia parks an apartment complex down there 4 times a year, it feels like. So we're in an unfamiliar territory, much more familiar for the opponent, all that good stuff going on. And that football team on the other side of the football, this wears red and black, is arguably peaking right now. Is there anybody that is on an upward trend and an upward arc at a higher rate right now than Georgia? Oregon, if Oregon gets healthy, maybe Oregon. That's all I got. Like Bama's doing this. Who else we got? A&M's doing this, it feels like, but kind of doing this on the way up, but having some of those down ticks. Lord knows Notre Dame's playing good ball right now. That's a good shout. It's a good shout from the chat. I wouldn't argue Oklahoma's one of these because Oklahoma's offenses look like poo-poo. So this is one of those, like Georgia's one of those rare teams right now that is playing its best version of itself and got a relatively clean bill of health. So that's one of those ones, and I would put Notre Dame in that category like the chat has already mentioned. Speaking of the injury report, let's talk about it. I do not expect C.J. Allen to play in this football game. Kirby said today Drew Bobo and Ernest Green are good to go for this matchup this weekend, or Friday, I should say. And we do expect Chauncey Bowens to be back, but in reality, if he's break glass in case of emergency, I wouldn't be surprised. Especially now that Bo Walker continues to get totes, like there are reasons to believe that we might want to keep Chauncey Bowens healthy for a playoff run. That's all I would say there. Like I said, I think you can absolutely run it down their throats right about now. And here's the take that I really want to have. Okay. I'm sure there's a tremendous amount of respect for Buster Faulkner. I'm sure they love that guy. I mean, there is not a football coach from opposing football places that have been here and coached at this place that get more of a let's go seek out Buster and give him some love in pregame than Buster. All right, they're not a coach. I don't ever see football coaches get the level of love from Georgia's staff that Buster Faulkner gets. I want to say that up front and foremost. That being said, I got a feeling Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann would like to stuff that dude in a locker on Friday. Because there's not an offensive coordinator that has, quote unquote, had his number or had their number or had the keys to success against Georgia more so than Buster Faulkner over the last 2 years, right? The last 2 games with way less talent, Georgia Tech has taken this football team and gave them the business on the offensive side of the ball. I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see if that is something that might motivate the 2 football coaches that are already highly motivated. Just a thought. Just a thought. Is there a play caller that has given them more problems with less than Buster Faulkner? My answer would be hell no. Let's get to these super chubs. Let's do it. Akin2 says, camera money for the best show on YouTube. Go Dogs. We appreciate you on that one. Matt says, count me in on the camera fund. We love that. Nick Arnold says, camera fund. Love the premium content, Brooks. Free the whales, pay the teachers, fix the calendar. Ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt. Camera fund, baby. Roll Tide from Bama country. Love the show, Brooks. Y'all are awesome. We appreciate you right there, my man. Marcy Reen says, just for you, Brooks. Do all the work. You know what? Sometimes you got to. Sometimes you got to send the boys home and call the old Kobe. We're going to ISO this. We're going to ISO, even though I'm lightheaded. If you've ever talked for 90 minutes straight by yourself, you'll notice that you get catches in your ribs. You know, I ran 4 miles today, and I feel like I've done a little bit better cardio in this one with regards to the VO2 max, if you know what I'm talking about. We talking ball around here. We talking ball. Bring back camera one for the calf muscle motivation. That's just y'all are objectifying my male body, and I don't feel good about that. I'm just kidding. The calves are just the fact that I walked around like a fat ass for most of my life and then lost weight. Ryan Russillo said it best. If you're a big man that has big calves, cool, dude. But if you're a 185 pounder with softballs on your calves, you're the guy to talk to about calf motivation, not me. I was about to pull my calf up. It's not even worth showing you. They're big. They're really, really big. I think the most important thing about my calves, they're really toned. I'm objectifying myself at this point. Bring back camera one fun. Thank you for being the best at what you do. I have over an hour drive to work as a nurse. Y'all give me something to look forward to at the end of the day. Y'all have an amazing platform, 100K right around the corner. Shout out to Hunter right there. Fun fact, my wife, a registered nurse, worked in the ER for a long time. Once saw a man impale himself on a fence post. It was gnarly. It was gnarly. Be careful jumping them fence with exposed posts. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Gig 'em. Beat the hell out of Texas. We got a lot of Aggie fans in the chat tonight. Eli Chamberlain says, Gunner and Bobo walked on Saturday. Do you think that means they declare early for the draft? No, I do not. I think that was a, hey, Curtis, look, the quarterback walked. He might leave. He ain't going nowhere. I mean, seriously, why would Gunner Stockton leave the University of Georgia after 1 year starting? He waited as long as he did to do this. There is nothing he loves more than playing with those teammates of his. That guy ain't going nowhere. In fact, I might lobby to give that man infinite eligibility, because for the life of me, do you know how relieving it is to come into this studio every single night, do a show every single night, and know that majority of my constituents listening actually like their quarterback? Not just like him, they love him. You guys will die for that guy. Boy, does that make my job easier, because yeah, I'm a content creator, but I'm also a cow herder. You know what I mean? I got to make sure you guys are in line. Make sure you're not getting too pissed off. You know, you got to be careful. What do we think tonight, chat? What do we think tonight, chat? An hour and 33 minutes by his lonesome. One commercial break. One sip of agua. You know what I mean? Woo! Might send the boys home for good. I'm just kidding. I miss them. I feel like I can only do this for so long by myself. But you know what? You know what I never have to worry about? I never, ever have to worry about A, where my money's at, or B, whether or not my phone's going to die on me midstream. You know why? Because of our friends over at Ridge. If you head over to ridge.com today and use promo code Brooks10, you'll get 10% off of all of their fine Ridge products, whether it be their sleek and smooth wallet over there at ridge.com, promo code Brooks10, or whether it be their power bank. And I'm telling you right now, guys, I am a person that has 8 to 9 to 10 hours a day on one cell phone. whether it be calling sources, watching film, reading through tweets, engaging with the audience, whatever it may be. Lots of usage of the phone. Never even have to garner for a charger midday. Shout out to our friends over at Ridge. I see you, Marion. I see you working in there, Marion. I see you. We appreciate you. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to call it a day. We got film study tomorrow. We're going to be taking a look at Georgia Tech for a preview for you Georgia fans, and we'll be taking a look at Vanderbilt's offense for you Tennessee fans watching today, for you Notre Dame fans watching today. We've already gotten a Jeremiah Love film study out and all that good stuff. We've also got an Arch Manning film study out this week. A lot of work. We work when others don't because we got bills to pay. We appreciate you for being here. Love you. Bye.